Gradually, all the parts come together in the final assembly hangar. It's 4 times the size of the Albert Hall, and last summer it was just beginning to fill up. The very first 146 was at that time just a nose cone. Now, we're actually standing more or less on the first aircraft, aren't we?
This is the first flying aircraft, yes.
Will this be the actual one that flies?
This would be the first aircraft that flies.
How do you feel when you look at it?
Well, it's excitement, really. I mean, this is a new aircraft, a new conception. The machining of the frames and everything is new. The whole aircraft has got fail-safe angles so that you would never get cracks and pieces like that. And this aircraft is an ultra-safe aircraft.
Trying to fit several million pieces together without them jarring each other causes a fair degree of friction. Usually it's 2 people talking, just occasionally arguing. There's a certain amount of abrasion as the metal's bonded together, and the personalities suffer from the struggle. One function's perfection is another function's loss, and by now almost everyone in the hangar has briefly forgotten that it's actually an aircraft they're working on. The first couple of airliners set each craft new, unexpected problems, which will be routine in a year's time. Do you understand how it works, or do you just put it together?
I put it together. I understand structurally how it works and to put all the equipment in.
But your job
being a new
really...
aircraft, we have to feel our way through it as we start off.
Do you make mistakes?
We don't make many mistakes.
You make
Experience.
some?
We make some. Everybody makes some. But all the mistakes are being ironed out. If we find that something's not correct or fitted, then that fit is changed and we have a new part fitted.
Is there a fair amount of toing and froing then between design
On the
and
first
design?
aircraft, there's a lot of toing and froing. But once we lay this out for production, everything on this aircraft will fit correctly, everything will be right, and then we'll flow through with our production.
It's very hard to believe that, like British Leyland, this is in fact an assembly line. It's much, much calmer, much less repetitive, and more thoughtful. And sometimes the man with the spanner will have a PhD.
So it doesn't matter to you now that you're making an aircraft, or this aircraft?
Oh, yes.
And when the chaplain, on one of his weekly tours, gets into conversation, it's rarely about darts or beer or religion.
You'll find that a lot of people here doing fairly ordinary manual jobs read the weekly or the monthly papers about aircraft. There are magazines like Flight and the Aeroplane. And recently, when the company had a series of lectures about the 146, the questions at the end from these kind of people showed that a number of them actually do their homework. They care about the industry.
Isn't that all a bit romanticised?
Well, I think it is if you make plastic gnomes.
But if you make aircraft...
But I think if you make aircraft, there is still a small amount of that, if you call it romantic, okay, but real depth to what people do.
A commercial aircraft has a life of 25 years between the initial designs and the wind down of the assembly line. Many of these men will be here that long, helping perhaps 300 aircraft take shape and fly away. For them, the 146 will be half their working life, longer than it takes to bring up their children. Just occasionally, there are high points, like the first flight or a massive order. Next week, we'll be looking at the final phase of an aircraft, how it comes together to meet the press and the public, the rollout.